The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Insert Democrat socialist here.
Runs the Democratic House floor for 30 plus years running. He's promising this and he's stealing that. Where can you get that kind of money? He's using your house like his own piggy bank. You ought to know by now. You can pay off your house here in Illinois, but you can never keep up with the taxes. Oh, how it's always been the plan to have a taxpayer pay, no doubt. Not a matter of if anymore, but when. You're moving out. I said, when you're moving out.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. That theme music means it's time for our weekly conversation with Ted Dabrowski, president of Wirepoints.org, all things Illinois policy related. Last week, Lateria Smith filed suit in Cook County Circuit Court against the Illinois Prisoner Review Board, the Chicago Police Department, and the Cook County Sheriff's Office. The lawsuit alleges all of them essentially did nothing to prevent her former boyfriend from attacking her and her family, despite knowing he presented a clear threat to their safety and allegedly should have remained in police custody on other charges. By attacking her and her family, he stabbed her 11-year-old son, Jaden Perkins, to death in front of his 5-year-old brother, who was attempting to defend his pregnant mother against attacking her.
Why was he even out in the first place?
Kills an 11-year-old boy protecting his pregnant mom in front of his 5-year-old brother.
All those lives will never be the same.
The attack came a day after he was released from prison per an order from the Illinois Prisoner Review Board. He was serving a 16-year prison sentence on convictions related to home invasion and aggravated assault. He had been paroled in October of 2023. However, police took him back into custody in February of 24 after Lateria Smith, the former girlfriend, mom in question here, told police that he sent her threatening text messages and allegedly attempted to force his way into the apartment that she shared with her 2 children, despite an order of protection forbidding him to do so. So that's called a violation of parole back in custody. According to court documents, when the assailant was later confronted by a parole officer about a mom's accusations, ex-girlfriend's accusations, of course he lied, telling officers he was merely looking for an apartment. He was taken back to Statesville on multiple parole violations. However, on March 12th, the Illinois Prisoner Review Board nonetheless released this guy from custody after a hearing. And then he lied at the IRB hearing about going to his ex-girlfriend's home. But Illinois Prisoner Review Board reportedly accepted his version of events, never following up on the ex-girlfriend's allegations against him, including declining to ask the ex-girlfriend to testify and tell her account of the events before they ordered his release. That was March 12th. March 13th, he goes there and kills the 11-year-old son. These fracking people.
I know. And by all accounts, I know a couple that knows Perkins, a little boy who died, and he's just a loved child. It was very popular at his school, and they're just heartbroken.
Of course, he's 11 years old. Goodness sakes.
Heartbroken.
So, I mean, this is the Pritzker regime. This is the Illinois Prisoner Review Board that released cop killers that were supposed to spend the rest of their lives in prison, as we mentioned on the show, to no particular avail. There's just some people, maybe a majority of the electorate in Illinois, you just can't inveigh upon. It doesn't matter the grotesqueness of what is done at the hands of the people they elected. It really doesn't. It's so sickening. They're just such sickening people. And unfortunately, we don't have enough people that sort of have the moxie of a Nicole Georges to start speaking truth to some of these sickening people and the disgusting, inhumane death and destruction that they cause. Now, this suit probably doesn't survive a motion to dismiss because of sovereign immunity. even if it's if it's only qualified with any of these entities. I mean, this could clearly be argued gross negligence, but probably not. But I'm glad that Lataria Smith filed it anyway to bring attention to it. Huh. Yeah, Illinois and Chicago are safer with these folks on the watch, right? I mean, I know she filed suit against the sheriff and the police, but this is really a decision-making on the other side of the justice system. Right. This is the governor. This is his Illinois Prisoner Review Board. He makes the appointments. This is your, on the prosecution side of the criminal justice system, more so on the cop side, but you fold all the agencies that touch the case in. I understand that. For more on this and other topics, let's be joined by Ted now. Ted, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Amy. Yes, all that is sick, and it all stems back from Pritzker's and Johnson's and Lightfoot's and Preckwinkle's kind of DEI equity lens that they see everything through.
Hey, Preckwinkle's running for re-election. That's so good. I was hoping she was going to stay at least through her 80s, if not into her 90s.
Yeah, thank goodness.
Yeah.
So it all adds up to we did a piece a while back called "The Calculus of a Chicago Criminal," but I guess it could be for the state too. But you've got a demoralized, restricted police who has a hard time doing their job. You've got we're up to 6% arrest rate now. There's some 68,000 arrests. Crimes, 68,000 reported crimes, and only about 4,000 arrests. You got all the unreported crimes, of course. Then you got the 911 calls that don't get responded to, and then you get the soft mayor and the soft prosecutor, soft judge, and it's just go commit the crimes because you can, and your likelihood of getting stopped in Illinois, and particularly in Chicago, is almost zero when you look at the probability of being punished.
And people are surprised, the upwardly mobile set that maybe still goes downtown occasionally for dinner and a show. They're surprised. I hear this all the time. But I was surprised to see how the number of vacancies, the retail vacancies in River North on the Gold Coast. Oh, yeah, it's a real shock. Gee, why do you think that is, you nitwit? Why do you think? Do you have any ideas about why that is? Do you think it's all Brandon Johnson's fault because that's what everybody's telling you? Is that the depth of your understanding? I hear all the time. I'm just surprised. What's going on in the city? I hear it's not safe. I see all these vacancies. Yeah. Real mystery.
Yeah, real mystery. Well, yeah, and you can see it when you go down. I think where was I? Either on State or Michigan Ave, one or the other. And there's a spot where it's all just boarded up windows. But it's nothing there. I mean, where did the retail go?
Well, look at the Bloomingdale's building. Somebody on YouTube or TikTok went inside there. I mean, every store is closed. Everything's gone. It's like a ghost town. It's purely, it's just a resounding just remark on what's happening to our city of Chicago, and it's only going to get worse because why would any level-headed business person want to set up shop there?
Gradually, then suddenly. I want to take a judicial notice of this latest report that you did over at wirepoints.org, Ted Dabrowski. Let's take a gander at Governor Jellybelly's performance when it comes to job creation in Illinois. What's happened with the job creation in Illinois under his tenure? Because I know he's turned this into a hub of entrepreneurial activity and growth, and it's a magnet for business investment and capital formation and all kinds of good stuff, so I'm told.
Yeah, I mean, when you listen to him speak, you would think that Illinois is Florida or Texas. But when you look at the numbers, it's the exact opposite. So we have new numbers out from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, so we can do full 2024 comparison. And John Klingner, our analyst, has done all this, and he compares 2024 to 2019 when Pritzker took over. And we have embarrassingly fewer private sector jobs today on average for the average of 2024 versus 2019. Fewer jobs today than when Pritzker took office. And you compare that with Texas, 1.2 million more jobs. Florida with almost 1 million new jobs, and we have fewer jobs, lost jobs. And what is that? The third worst in the country for private sector jobs. All of our neighbors grew. Indiana grew by almost 100,000 jobs. Same for Kentucky. again, we lost jobs. So the record is dismal. And the only reason we grew jobs over that period was, guess what? Because government jobs grew. Not by much, but they grew just enough to put us in the positive. So it's really the government sector that kind of saved us, but barely. But
yes,
the end,
the government sector will save us. Oh, yes. Where have I heard that before? That seems like that's the operative philosophy of the political ruling class. The government will save us. Not if you're a private sector that finances it continues to dwindle. But, I digress. So wait, so we have less private sector jobs than when Jelly Belly took office, and that place that nobody goes to, Indiana, they have 100. They created 100 times more private sector jobs than Jelly Belly than have been created under Jelly Belly during the same time period.
Yeah, that place that he was dissing just the other day when the Indiana
nobody goes to Indiana,
trying to woo over those counties. It's growing. It's Indiana's growing.
Huh.
I mean, well, most of the country's growing. We're not.
I wanted to get your take on this, Ted, because much to the criticism that you have lodged against the Chicago Teachers Union, I think you've suggested that they may be asking for a bit much with their latest contractual demands. Well,
they made a video.
Yeah, well, let's see if you're not persuaded to think otherwise.
Oh, we're asking for too much? My bad. I just want my students to have clean drinking water.
Oh, we're asking for too much? My bad. I'd like class sizes that allow me to teach, not just crowd control.
Oh, we're asking for too much? My bad. I just want the district to actually use the money it has to invest in our schools.
We're asking for too much? My bad. I think evaluations should be able to help teachers and not push them out of the profession.
Wow.
Why do you want to push teachers out of the profession while they preside over large classes with poor drinking water?
That's scary stuff. It's interesting. One of the negotiations they're trying to do is do fewer evaluations of teachers who are veterans.
Right.
And, if we've seen anything, CPS almost gets 100% rating for all teachers for, either excellent or proficient. So I'm not sure why they would want to delay that. It sounds like everything's going well for them.
But aren't they rating themselves?
No, they don't rate themselves.
Okay.
But God knows what actually happens. But it's a supervisor or a qualified reviewer. So.
And just on the investment side, I mean, I guess that's the fancy word they use for spending, taxpayers. Illinois State Board of Education, you had this story too. So is this is real spending between 2000 and 2024?
Mm-hmm.
So 16 round numbers, 16 billion to 44 billion in 24 years.
It's up tremendously. What's up from what is that from? I have to put the numbers. It's up 16 billion. So wait, we talking about for CPS?
K through 12 spending statewide. Because let's just say let's go statewide here. Statewide, 16 billion to 44 billion is what I see from your piece.
Yeah,
K through 12 education. But I understand in Chicago, and I'm sure I'd hear the same thing in the suburbs and everywhere else. We're not spending enough on K through 12. That's the problem.
No, I mean this is fascinating. How much more it is than inflation. Inflation at the state level we would have spent $30 billion. Instead, we're spending $44 billion. So we're spending $14 billion more than we probably should be, and that of course is largely going to then come out of people's property taxes. But you see, no increased benefit from all that spending. We do about the same as everywhere else, but we spend a lot more. So I look at this and just say, man, we should be giving tons of money back to taxpayers. Huge property tax relief. And Chicago's having this fight right now. They're running out of money, and I think that's going to be the next big interesting thing as it all plays out between Chicago and CPS as they fight over money. Is that we should forget raises for teachers at CPS. They should just be held flat, and we should be firing from our numbers about 5,000 non-teacher non-teaching staff employees. We could generate $500-600 million, if not more, just by cutting those costs and making it more efficient. And then CPS problems, at least in the short term, would be solved. But of course, that's never going to happen. But it's so fat there. They've hired so many people in the last few years since COVID, and they could just unwind the hires, close the empty schools, and a lot of the short-term fiscal problems would be wiped out.
Sounds maybe just crazy enough to work. At the state level, so that 2.5x increase in state spending on K through 12 over the last 25 years, real dollars, inflation adjusted, and that has resulted in proficiency in reading math that is 2.5 times better now than it was in 2000.
Yeah, right. It's funny. We pulled up the 2003 numbers and we compared them, 20 years ago to today. The results are exactly the same. And these are on the National Assessment Test, so this is a good like-for-like comparison. No change. All that money, all that effort, all that equity being put in, and you get nothing for it, except for huge property tax bills, because that's the bottom line, is that highest property tax bills, and you get nothing for it.
All right. Well, stay the course, Illinois. It's going well. Ted Dabrowski, President Wirepoints, wirepoints.org. Thanks as always, Ted. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy, pretty much hands off.